Hey guys, my name is Marco. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk about films and other media. And today I want to talk to you guys about my thoughts on Avatar 2, The Way of the Water. And honestly, I can't believe we're talking about it right now. It's been 13 years since the original movie came out, back in 2009. I was in high school when that movie came out. So, I remember reading these articles, every year they'd come out, they'd be like, when is Avatar 2 dropping? When is it coming out? And finally, I get to say that I think this movie is even better than the original one. I liked the original one when it came out. I didn't get to see it in theaters and experience, the amazing visuals in 3D and everything like that. But I still saw it and I thought it was a great movie. Though the plot was a little bit predictable, I thought, it carried the movie, but this one, I think it does a better job. It's much more engaging than what the first film offered. There's new characters in the film, that they go through their own trials and tribulations, and I think James Cameron does a better job of hooking you into the world of Pandora versus the first film. So the main premise of the film, it follows the character Jake Sully many years, after he helped basically the Na'vi fight back against the human overlords. And if you remember at the end of that film, he turns into a Na'vi all the way. He's not human anymore. So in this film, he has a family now, with his love interest, Neytiri. And they've got two sons. One is Netayam, I believe he's the older one, and then the younger one is named Loak. And they've also got this little girl named Tuk. And they even adopt another Na'vi from one of the human characters, I believe, from the first film, played by Sigourney Weaver. So her name is Kiri. And she's the special one. You see her on the cover. She's got, some stuff going on in the film that you'll notice throughout. And they also have a human kid with them. His name is Spider, and he's actually the son of the villain from the original movie. So that's interesting. And speaking of the original villains, they somehow managed to come back even after their deaths in the original film. How? Well, basically they come back as clones, and not just, human clones. They come back as Na'vi clones. And I thought that was actually really cool, a really cool way to bring them back without, being so forced. It was kind of a little video gamey, but I thought it was cool the way they did it. And so they're basically out for revenge against Jake. So they basically go and try to hunt him. And so he's forced to, go with his family and leave his original tribe. He goes to a new tribe, and they're like this water tribe, and they're called, the Metkania. And they have to basically learn their customs and ways. And they're kind of like, they look like Na'vi. They're almost the same thing. They're just like a lighter blue. They've got these tribal tattoos, and it's really cool seeing, how their culture is different from the forest culture. So somehow this movie, it managed to use its 3-hour runtime to its full effect, and it captivated me the entire time with stunning visual effects and action sequences. This is the second movie to do that to me this year. The first one being The Batman. Maybe I'll talk about that in another video. So for me, the water effects were mind-blowing. I know they spent a lot of time trying to get the water effects right. And you can tell in this film, because they're mostly underwater and they show everything off. It's beautiful. The CGI world of Pandora, it's on full effect here. And you get more of a taste of the world, while Jake and his family is exploring and checking out, this new tribe. And they're showing them their ways. And for me, the only gripe I really had with the visuals of this movie is the frame rate. So the frame rate in this movie is like a variable frame rate, basically. There's scenes that are shot in 48 frames per second, and then others that are 24 frames per second. And I just hated how inconsistent it was. I'd rather, a movie stick to either one or the other, 24 or 48. So it's jarring, it's noticeable. It's not just different scenes, it's different shots. You'll be able to tell one is in 48 frames per second, and then suddenly it'll go to 24 frames per second. And I couldn't stand it, for me personally. Throughout the 3 hours, I thought I'd get used to it, but no, I couldn't stand it. So maybe you'll do better than me. In some movie theaters, I heard they're not showing the 48 frames per second at all because they can't handle it. So maybe it'll just be a different experience for you. But for me personally, I'm not a fan. So some cultural aspects, that I noticed in this film that are still present from the original one is the themes of environmentalism and the colonial themes. The presence of outsiders attacking indigenous people and destroying the land. It's still very much at the forefront of this story. So I read an article. I'll link it below, and it talks kind of about how James Cameron, he still applies this colonial lens to the second film that he carried over from the first film, and how problematic it is. Like, for example, how Jake, he had the white savior trope from the first film, and I guess it carries over a little bit in this film as well. He's full Na'vi now, and he's got a family, but I guess that still carries over. But honestly, for me, it doesn't bother me too much, just because the Na'vi are a fictional race of people. They're not real, and Pandora is so far removed from reality. I understand that they borrowed aspects from indigenous tribes in real life, but not enough to bother me personally. And then there's other films that have been tackling issues of colonialism, like Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, that I might talk about in a future video. So for me, personally, didn't bother me. Maybe you guys think differently. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. So, overall, my thoughts, I thought this was a great film, with incredible visuals and a compelling story. A little bit predictable. I could see where it was going sometimes, but I still thought it was compelling, But next time, I'd actually love to see James Cameron, take his toes out of the water and, make something much more challenging to audiences. These visuals, they're revolutionary. Like, absolutely revolutionary. So why not match that with a revolutionary story? It'd be this perfect blend. But personally, for me, Avatar 2, The Way of the Water, it's an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 for me. And I definitely recommend it. Go to the movie theater, watch it in 3D. And that 3-hour runtime might seem a little bit scary, but I promise you it'll go by quick. Maybe you guys saw it already, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.